Guardians of the Galaxy is one of the best rides Disney's ever created. Welcome to the WDW Reflections Podcast. Here, we'd love to talk about the Walt Disney World Resort, the way we remember it, how it's changed, and why we still enjoy visiting the most magical place on Earth. So come with us on a podcast journey as we reflect on the WDW Reflections Podcast. Hey y'all, welcome to the WDW Reflections Podcast, your unofficial guide through Disney World memories and their connections to the parks that we know and love today. I am Dewey, one of your hosts, coming to you from Delaware, where I just happen to live for a little bit longer, 2 more years. Anyway, this is episode number 44 of the WDW Reflections Podcast. With me today are my podcast travel buddies, Ron and Tony. Ron, back from his cruise. Welcome back, coming to us from Cleveland, Tennessee, my good buddy Ron. What's up, buddy?
Hey, man. Good to be back. Been missing you guys, obviously, and just looking forward to diving into some discussion this morning.
Ron, good to see you back, buddy. It's been probably about a month since we got together and recorded an episode with the three of us all together. So good to be back.
I was scared. I had to get back before I got voted off the island.
We've discussed it. And coming to us from the Big Apple, my good buddy Tony G. What's up, Tony?
Hey, how's it going, guys? Good to see you both, and I'm looking forward to catching up. It's been a while, and so we have a kind of a fun show. And I just want to remind everybody again about our website, www.reflectionspodcast.com. I think you forgot to mention that. And the ability to get to our YouTube channels, and please, everybody, if you do go out there and you do enjoy this content, like it, share it, comment, subscribe. We'd like to know that you're out there. This is our fun weekend project, but we like to know that there are people listening and that they have an opinion on it.
Absolutely, we'd love to hear from everybody and hear from the listeners and all 7 of you, and see what you guys think about what we're doing, and maybe give us ideas, something you'd like to see us talk about in the future. We'd love to interact with y'all, so definitely reach out. All right, so this week we kind of just wanted to do a quick check-in with each other. Like we said, we haven't been together, the 3 of us all together, in at least a month. It's probably been, and so we just wanted to kind of pop on today, do a little bit of recording, and just get together and catch up. And then I think we'll talk a little bit about my recent trip to Florida. And I had the opportunity to go to a couple of the Disney parks. And that was the first time I've been there in over 3 years, which is kind of crazy because my family typically goes. Pre-COVID, we went to Disney 2 or 3 times a year, and we haven't been in 3. So that was a kind of an emotional deal for me. So we'll talk about that here in a little bit too. So let's just do a quick catch up, and we'll start with you, Ron, since we didn't get to see you last week because you were on a cruise. Isn't that right?
Yeah. So 27 years of being married, and we decided
Congratulations.
Well, thank you. We went to relive our honeymoon on a cruise. The original cruise ship that we cruised in 27 years ago is no longer open or operational. But it's interesting that the name of that cruise ship was Dolphin, and we thought it was huge. And we pulled into our first port, and we literally looked like a tugboat next to Royal Caribbean, and it just was crazy. This time around, we cruised with Virgin and had a great time, and very different cruising experience with them. It's really a one price gets you well down the road instead of the first price gets you on the boat, and then you get nickel and dimed and hit up for all kinds of stuff. Virgin really didn't do that, and that was welcome difference. And then you also don't have, for anyone that cruises out there, you know that you normally have one large dining experience that you can participate in. I think it's for Royal, it's normally I think breakfast is open and dinner is open. I don't know if lunch is open in the main dining room or not, but dinner is definitely the main attraction for the main dining room on those cruise ships. Other times you have more of a buffet type setup in another part of the ship. With Virgin, with this cruise line, you have specialty dining every night and there's no extra cost. There are some meals that you can upcharge if you want to, but not, I didn't feel like they made anything that appealing that I had to feel like I needed to upgrade to get a good meal. You may want to be a little bit adventurous for some of the restaurants, but I never went hungry, I'll put it that way. And the other interesting part about, they do a lot of interactive with their app, and so Wi-Fi comes free with, or at least basic Wi-Fi. You're not going to get out to the mainland. You can text basically with what they provide you, which is more than what most cruise ships give you. So without paying extra. So in all, we, had a great time celebrating our marriage, and just, there was 2 stops. Honestly, they're making the stops at the ports so attractive now that you don't even have to leave the port area if you don't want to. And we chose not to on this one. They had a lazy river and a pool.
Nice.
And shopping. So that was at the Dominican Republic, and then we had another stop at a private island in the Bahamas. So
did you have
great
good weather?
time. We did have, we saw some rain at night, which was nice, just to in our room. Oh my gosh, the room was I don't know if I mentioned, it's an adult only cruise. So most cruise ships have rooms set up to sleep 4. This one is only set up to sleep 2. And not that the having 4 should take away from space, because normally it's bunks, but the room just was much more spacious than what we are accustomed to having on a cruise ship. And we did go with the balcony, which I used to say you don't need to worry about a balcony, the ship's surrounded by balcony, but I don't know, because you only sleep in the room. But I don't know, guys, I'm a big proponent for the balcony.
You get spoiled because you get that private view, and you get
you get the private view,
and
you actually, it feels like your room's extended, honestly. And so in the morning, my wife likes to sleep. It gives me a great place to just go out and look over the ocean and get some ocean therapy. So
absolutely,
I think I'm a balcony guy from now on. I've had them in the past, and it honestly, it's not that much more money.
No, I definitely think that adds to it, because otherwise you're in an enclosed space and it takes a little bit away from the enjoyment of being able to get that blast of fresh air in the morning.
Yeah. And you can even, that's one, I really didn't enjoy this aspect. When you open the door for the balcony, the air conditioner is turned off.
Oh,
which it makes sense.
Yeah.
Because
they don't want to waste it.
Yeah, they don't want to waste that energy. But at the same time, it's nice to be able to hear. You don't get enough wind flow to keep the room cool at night and still hear the ocean. So it was kind of disappointing that we couldn't listen to the ocean. But
you want to have your cake and eat it too, right? You want to have the air conditioning and the door open.
Anyway, but man, it was a great time. It was a 5-night, and we've done a 4-night, we've done now a 5-night, and I've done 7-night. And I don't know, the 4-night was fine. I didn't feel gypped. I don't know that I would do a 3-night. I think I'd feel gypped with the 3-night. The 5-night felt pretty good. 7 nights sometimes can feel, don't get me wrong, you're on a ship. You're not like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is still going. But at the same time, you're kind of ready to get home.
Yeah.
It was a good time though.
Well, that's good. Well, congratulations on 27 years. That's quite an accomplishment. So that's pretty
Yeah.
good. And glad you guys had a good time. Glad you didn't run into any issues or anything on the trip. I know sometimes, that can happen. So
Yeah,
nice that you had
the
a good
ship was
time.
a little bit smaller, so you did feel the rocking. On the large ships, you really don't feel anything. We don't mind that because we actually even got our room in the front because we like to feel the rock of the boat. But you definitely feel it on the smaller ships more so than on the big ships.
Interesting. Well, I've never cruised yet, so I was unaware that you rock more if you're closer to the front. I guess that's just because that's where the boat or the ship is
Well,
meeting the
that's
waves.
the place that you want to get midship if you don't like that or if it makes you woozy, because the midship is less. You're just in the middle, so
Yeah, the center of gravity, I guess you could say.
right.
Okay, interesting. All right, cool. What about you, Tony? You had anything interesting going on? I know you didn't go on a cruise to celebrate your anniversary or anything, but
No,
anything interesting going
that
on?
has been in the plans. Actually, this year is going to be our 15th wedding anniversary, and that sort of is in the plans. I understand the Magic is coming back. The Disney Magic is coming back to New York, and we would love to go back on it.
Wow.
But I don't know if that's going to be possible with the economy and everything that's going on right now. And it was just tax time, so it's been a little bit painful. But
Yeah.
aside from that, we've been watching tons and tons of videos because we are planning a Disney adventure this year, and I will offer more information about that probably on the next show. But I'm not ready to
Wow, what a
divulge any of that.
teaser.
Yeah, I'm sorry I have to tease the audience right now, but I'll talk about it more next time we come around. But we are in the midst of finally. I mean, we haven't been to anything anywhere. Even we haven't even been to a restaurant in 3 years. So we're looking forward to doing something different, to get out there back in the world again. And we figured this is the best opportunity because things are beginning to change a little bit around us. And so we're like, okay, you know what, let's do this now before things get a little bit crazy. So I'll offer more information, as I said, next time around, but we're in the midst of Disney planning. Let's put it that way.
All right, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I guess I'll show up for the next show just so I can find out what's going on.
But speaking of Disney planning, Dewey, you actually got to go.
Yes. So, you guys probably know that, with my father-in-law as a cast member and stuff, we go down there a lot, or we did, pre-COVID. And then when COVID hit, unfortunately, it's affected my wife's health, and she's still battling a lot of stuff with post-COVID, what they're calling post-COVID long haulers is what they're calling the people that are still affected by COVID after a COVID infection. So my wife is still battling that. So that's really affected our family. So we kind of like you just mentioned, Tony, you guys don't really go places and stuff. We really don't either. Obviously I'm a high school teacher, so I go to work every day, but we don't really go out to eat, and we don't do a lot of stuff outside our home, and we don't have visitors in our home because my wife is, immunocompromised. So we like it when it warms up because we can see family and friends on our back deck, so we do invite people to come hang out with us then. But so because of that, my wife hasn't felt up to traveling, and plus the exposures and stuff. So we haven't gone anywhere to include Disney. And which, missing out on Disney is one thing, but the biggest part of that is that because we weren't traveling, my wife hasn't seen her dad in 3 years. So that's been a really, really hard thing to deal with. So, and we're not getting any younger. My wife and I are both 49, which means that her dad is 70. So, we hope he's around for 20 more years, but you just don't know. You just don't know. So it was really important for us to try and get down there so she could see her dad again. And so we had the opportunity. My daughter is a sophomore in high school. She goes to the high school I teach at, and she's in chorus. And the chorus, the chorus and the band together go down to Florida every year for a competition. And it's like a nationwide chorus and band competition. So we had the opportunity to do that. And since my daughter was going, and since I'm actually pretty good friends with the chorus teacher, her classroom's right across the hall from mine, so we're pretty good friends. I arranged to be a chaperone on the trip, so I got to go down and help out, help keep the kids in line, keep them out of trouble and stuff, and make sure that they had a good time, and to make sure that I had a good time too. So one of the days, the first day we got down there, and their competitions are at Universal. It's tied in with Universal. So the first day, their group went to the water park at Universal. It's Volcano Bay. And my ticket was a military ticket, because I'm retired military. And my ticket didn't include the water park. So I had basically had a free day. So they the chorus teacher arranged for me not to have chaperone duties that day. And so I had a day that could just basically do whatever. And so my father-in-law, being a cast member, he was going to sign me in. But and a few weeks ago, when we initially started looking at, because you got to do the reservations and everything to get into a park, cast members were blacked out of every park except for Epcot. So which is fine. I love Epcot and it's my favorite park anyway, but I still haven't been able to do Rise of the Resistance. So I was hoping to get into the studios, but was unable to because it was blacked out for cast member sign-in. So we just reserved Epcot, and I was just going to spend the day at Epcot, and that was going to be okay. And so we drove down, and we were, concerned about how the trip down would affect my wife's health, because it takes her, when she exerts herself, it takes her a couple of days to bounce back from that kind of stuff. But she did okay. And we got down there, and on a Thursday, and her dad got home from work, and it was amazing, lots of emotions and stuff, not having seen him in 3 years and stuff. So that was really amazing to have that reunion and everything. But we got to talking, and Mick, my wife, just mentioned that I wasn't going to be able to go into the studios because of the blackouts. And her dad said, "Oh, well, here, I've got a hard ticket. Maybe you can use that." And so the hard tickets are, it's not a cast member sign-in. You don't have to have a cast member there with you. And it's basically just a one-day park hopper. And they get them at Christmas time every year. It's like a bonus. In addition to their sign-ins, they get a handful of these hard tickets.
Oh, nice.
And they expire. So if you don't use them, then they expire. And the one he gave me expires at the end of this year anyway. And so he's like, "It's going to expire this year anyway, so just take it." So my wife uploaded that into because my father-in-law is not good with computers and stuff. So my wife uploaded that ticket into his account, and poof, I could get into all 4 parks, whichever ones I wanted. So cast member sign-ins were blacked out, but this one-day park hopper not blacked out. So it's literally like an hour before I'm about to go to sleep, to go to the park the next day. And my wife's like, "You want me to change the reservation?" And I was like, "Holy smokes, really?" So we looked at it, and there were still reservations for the studios available. So we switched it, and that was a really good surprise. I did not expect that at all. So my plan completely changed. I made the reservation for the studios, and then I just planned on at 2, when you can park hop, I would just head over to Epcot. And Also, during about a year and a half ago, my wife's stepdad and her younger brother moved to Florida. So my brother-in-law works at Hard Rock Cafe down there and has season passes to Disney. So I had contacted him and asked him if he wanted to hang out with me. And it just so happened that he was off. He didn't have to go into work until 4 that day. So he met me at the studios after I had finished my morning, which actually was me finally getting on Rise of the Resistance. So I got up bright and early before the sun and headed over to the studios, and the parking lot looked pretty empty. I was pretty excited. I thought, all right, this is gonna be pretty good. I was literally in the first row of parking.
Wow.
And probably, I don't know, maybe the 40th car or something, if I had to make a guess. And I was like, boom, I'm in, right? And so I was feeling pretty upbeat. And, my brain hadn't caught on to the fact that there's people coming in on buses and Skyliner, right?
Skyliner, yeah.
So as I walk up to, and not to mention, it was also an extra magic hour for the studios that day. So I was behind all those people too. But so when I get there, there's, the park is already open to resort guests, so it's already full. Excuse me. And there was a line for rope drop. And I was probably, I don't know, maybe 300 people in front of me, 200 or 300. So it wasn't that bad. But so I was like, all right, that's cool. We can do this. And so
that was already past security, or you had to still go through security at that point?
Dude, security, there is no security anymore. There's no more bag checks. It's like they have those scanners like at the airport.
Right. Yeah.
So
right.
I mean, I say no security, but
no, I know what you mean.
There is
not the old fashioned kind.
Correct. They no more bag checks. They have you just walk through the scanner, and the cast members have their little screen. And if they see something that looks weird, then they'll stop you. Otherwise, you just walk through and you're done. It was, that's pretty good technology, because it made it. I mean, it was literally 5 seconds. I just walked through, and then I got in line for rope drop, and I got there probably, I don't know. I got there about 45 minutes early before rope drop. So, just stood there in line, for a while, and talked to a few of the people that were there with me and stuff, and kind of just chit chatting and everything. And finally got through. They finally dropped the ropes, and we, I made a beeline for Rise of the Resistance. And by the time I got there, the line was 155 minutes.
Oh, jeepers.
And I was like, but you know what? That's literally why I am here.
Yeah.
The only reason I came to the studios was to get on this ride, because I've been on Smuggler's Run.
Right.
I got to do that in 2019. In August of 2019.
Before everybody else.
Right. Yes. I got to go with my father-in-law, the cast member preview. He could take a guest. But I had not been on Rise of the Resistance. So got in line, and we were all, so where Rise of the Resistance is, right?
Yeah.
It's the first thing in Batuu. But
did everybody else head there too from the intro?
There was a split. Some people went to Mickey and Minnie, and
to the Toy Story thing, probably too.
Yes, some people went to Toy Story. If you got kids, that's where you're going. You're going to Slinky Dog or whatever. And then so you could see there were 3 distinct paths. Some were going to Batuu, some were going to Mickey and Minnie, and some were going to Toy Story. So I made it to the line, but the line was all the way out, all the way under the tunnel, the cave, and all the way into, it snaked into Muppets? They took part of the queue for Muppets. Yes. So I was all the way out there, and it said 155 minutes, and I was and I was like, you know what? That's why I'm here. No big deal. It actually only took an hour. I was only in line for an hour. So it was way faster than was posted. I don't know.
Hey, you didn't take a Genie Plus or Lightning Lane or anything?
No. No. look, it was a free day.
It's a joke. It's a joke.
Yeah, I know. And my wife actually mentioned, she's like, you could just pay $17 and do it. And I was like, I'm not. This is the reason I'm here. I'll wait in line.
You want the whole experience. You want to
Sure.
live
I
it like
wanted to
like a
see
normal
inside.
person.
Absolutely. Yeah, I wanted to see inside anyway.
Oh yeah, right.
Because it was my first time.
Yeah.
And it only took an hour.
Yeah.
I was very pleasantly surprised. And I was I was fully prepared for 2 hours or whatever, So which reminds me, so still to this day, the longest line I've ever waited in is for that stupid 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. So stupid styrofoam fish on strings. So so I only had to wait an hour. And Rise of the Resistance, unbelievably cool. I mean, and I know you guys have already been on it, and everybody else in the world's been on it. So my review of this ride is about 2 years too late. But
and I have to say something before you give us a review. Another thing that Dewey did was he avoided as many spoilers about it as possible. I don't know how you did that, but somehow he stayed spoiler free.
I've seen a million stills, like photographs.
Yeah.
I've seen, I know about the as soon as the doors open, all of the First Order stormtroopers are standing there. I've seen that picture. I've seen pictures of Kylo Ren, up above on that rail and stuff. I've seen a lot, and I've seen the AT-ATs, a picture of the AT-AT and everything. So I kind of knew basically what was going on. I knew you were on a First Order stormtrooper. I knew you were on a First Order Star Destroyer, but I have not watched a video. I have purposely ignored every YouTube video out there about Rise of the Resistance. I wanted my first time to be as much of a surprise and spoiler free as possible. So I have not seen any video of Rise of the Resistance. So I feel, and I'm happy I did that, because there were a few things on the ride that I was like, whoa, that was awesome, because I didn't know it was coming. So thanks for bringing that up, Tony. You're right. And I've told you guys before that I was trying to do that. So absolutely positively amazed by the technology, and the ride system is super cool. It's the trackless system. The elevator part, I didn't know that was coming, so I was completely surprised by that, changing levels. And there's one point where Kylo Ren's lightsaber comes through the ceiling. That was super cool. I didn't know about that. I mean, to begin with, I didn't know that like you're inside the queue is all wrapping around inside the cave, and it's like a First Order base or whatever, and you're seeing not First Order, I'm sorry, new Resistance base, and you're seeing all the helmets and all those kinds of things, and it's cool. But then you go outside to get on the ship.
Oh yeah.
And then so the ship takes off, and there's actually the audio animatronics inside the ship. There's a Mon Calamari up in the flight deck and everything. So some really cool stuff that I didn't know any of that. And then the ship gets captured, and then you get out, and when the doors open again, you're on the Star Destroyer. So that was all super, super cool.
And that was pretty I can't even think of the word, awe-inspiring, when you walk out and you first see this flight deck, don't you guys think?
So listen, so once you get on the ship and then the storyline unfolds and that you're in the tractor beam and everything, I fully assumed that it was just going to be like a walkthrough thing. So you got in on this side of the ship, and you're going to see the stormtroopers on this side. So basically the ship is just, a tunnel. I was completely surprised because it's the same side. Like, so you get in and you're in the cave, or, you come out of the cave and you're on the planet.
Right.
But when the doors reopen, it's the same doors.
Yeah.
And you're on the Star Destroyer. And I was like, that's pretty, I mean, I guess somehow they just turned the ship around or something, while you're, and it's, it's bouncing around because you're in space. So you don't really feel that, but that blew me away, because that was, I mean, and that's very subtle. Most people probably wouldn't even think about that, but that's very subtle. And Disney didn't have to do that. They went to an extra expense in making that ride, that ship, flip around or spin so that you're getting out on the same side. That's a very small detail, but I mean, it blew me away, you know.
How intense were the actors? Because I know I went early on, 3 years ago, and the actors were saying, "Come on, you have to hurry up." They were acting as if they were in an urgent situation.
No offense to the cast members that were there that day, but they didn't add anything to the experience. We'll just
Yeah, that's
say
what I
that.
figured would happen
Yeah.
by this time. Yeah.
It was just like, you've got 2 minutes, you got to get on. And I was like, okay, and I mean, and it's unfortunate because, and you guys know that sometimes you get on Tower of Terror and they're just like, sit down and do your seatbelt, and you're just getting on a ride.
Yeah.
But sometimes you get that one cast member that
Yeah.
just loves their job, and they try to be spooky.
And at the Haunted Mansion as well, they do that.
Yes, exactly. So I'm sure there are some cast members that are just giant Star Wars nerds, and they're like, gotta go, just like really into it. The ones that I experienced were not. They were just, they were doing their job, and that's okay. But they were not into it. But absolutely, positively, just blown away by the complexity and the technology and everything to do with that ride. My only complaint is that they did the wrong era. They just did the wrong era. Imagine if that ride was original trilogy era, and that was Darth Vader coming after you, and one of the rooms that you get into is the throne room on the Death Star or something, and you see the Emperor in his chair or something. Just taking nothing away from the ride that we have, and the Rise of Resistance is an amazing ride, but just imagine what that ride could have been if, instead of being pulled onto a Star Destroyer, you were tractor beamed into the Death Star, and you got to see original trilogy stormtroopers. And when the doors open, there's the Emperor sitting in his throne room, and surrounded by the royal guards and stuff. I mean,
it works.
How much better would it have been if it was Vader and the Emperor in the original trilogy? That's the only thing. I just think they missed an opportunity to just blow everybody away. I mean, let's be honest. The best movies are the original trilogy, and the sequel trilogies are okay, but the entire world knows the original trilogy with the Death Stars and all that it could have been epic. It could have been that. But besides that, absolutely loved Rise of the Resistance. Very cool. So when I got off of Rise of the Resistance, and I posted a few videos that day on our
on the podcast, on our YouTube as well. Yeah.
Yes, put those on YouTube and on the Instagram and Facebook and stuff. So some of y'all may have seen that. But after I got off of that, my brother-in-law lives right off of International Drive, so he's only 15 minutes away. So he met me, and by that time it was, I don't know, probably close to lunchtime. It was around 11:30 or so, and we just decided weren't even going to really try to get on any more attractions. So he's like, let me show you the places I like to get drinks. So we went and had a couple of drinks at a couple of different places at the studios. And I said, you know what? And my brother-in-law doesn't like Tower of Terror. He doesn't do well with heights. So he doesn't do that one. And I was like, well, would you stand in line with me and, just walk through the queue with me so I could do it? He's like, sure, no problem. So I pull up it's not My Disney Experience anymore, whatever that app is called now. And the line for Tower of Terror was 150 minutes.
Yeesh.
And I was like, nope, not waiting in that line. Studios, because it was Extra Magic Hour that morning and everything, the studios were packed. So we decided not to do that. So he said, well, hey, let's go down to Disney Springs, and I'll show you where I like to drink down there. So we went to Disney Springs and had another drink. And by the time we did that, it was pretty close to almost time for my 2 o'clock where I could park hop. And he had to be at work at 4 anyway. So we walked around Disney Springs for a little bit and then said our goodbyes. And I hopped back in the car and drove to Epcot Center. And that's where I spent the rest of the day. And so when I got there, I just kind of walked around a little bit and, got to see the return of the acrylic statue that's in front of Spaceship Earth. Absolutely love that statue is back, and that's the first time I've seen it since it's been back, because it's been 3 years since I've been there. So I spent a few minutes in that courtyard with the Epcot Center flags with all the logos and stuff. That's just super awesome. I love that nostalgia and everything. And so after that, I went and got on the seas, the living seas. And what I did see is that all around the living seas, they've brought back the original pavilion logos. And so that original Living Seas logo, the circle logo looks like waves. Every sign in there that said, like the Turtle Talk with Crush sign has that logo on it. And, every sign. So it looks like, I don't know if they just did that for the 40th or if they're trying to reincorporate those logos, but it was everywhere in, the manatee exhibit, that had the logo on it. So that really excited me. I really enjoyed.
Well, was there any indication that because I think we're still in the 40th anniversary, right? Was there any indication that was a thing?
No, they're not. As a matter of fact, at every store you go into has 40th anniversary merchandise, and it's marked down 40% off.
Wow.
So they're trying to get rid of it. So they're not doing anything with the 40th anniversary. There was not any signage or anything like that even talked about the 40th anniversary. Anything you did see was either 50th, or the 50th was going away and the 100 Years of Wonder was coming up. Because
you actually were there on the last day of the celebration of the 50th,
I was
right?
there on the last day of the 50th anniversary celebration. So
you could have got all kinds of stuff.
I did get a 40th anniversary shirt, and I got a 40th anniversary keychain. I already had the magnet and I already had the hoodie. So I did get several things for the 40th anniversary at a good price.
What about for the 50th?
The 50th stuff is gone.
Oh, really?
50th stuff is gone. You can't. I did see there was a little bit of 50th stuff in what's the store called now? It's the Connections Cafe, and then with the character shop. They had a little bit of 50th anniversary stuff, but it wasn't marked down yet. It was still regular price.
Really?
So yeah, it was still regular price. And my wife has got a couple of things. Her dad had sent over the last year or so. He'll periodically buy something for her and send it to her. And so she's got a couple of 50th anniversary, like Starbucks mugs and stuff like that. But there wasn't really a lot of that stuff around. And then, so I did the Seas. And then right after I did the Seas is when the three of us got on the video call real quick. And when I was standing in front of, I actually sat down in front of the mural for the Land Pavilion. And that's where the three of us did that quick video call, which is also, I think, Tony, you put that up on YouTube.
Yeah, it's on YouTube as well. Yeah.
So that was cool. That's, we've been doing this show almost 2 years. We're at about 1.5 years now. And it's the first time that since we've been doing the show that any of us have gone. So we've been talking for a couple of years now that we're going to broadcast live from the parks, and none of us have been there yet. So that was pretty cool that we got to finally do that for the show. So that was fun. And then I went into the land, and there's a new, at least new to me since the last time I'd been there, there's a new movie in where the Circle of Life movie used to be with Timon and Pumbaa, that movie, in that theater over there on the right-hand side of the land. Now it's basically like it's like a National Geographic movie. It's really pretty, shows scenes from all over the world and stuff. And the the guy, I can't remember his real name, but the guy that played Phil Dunphy on Modern Family is the narrator of that movie. And it's basically just it's like I said, like a National Geographic movie. It's environmentalism and that kind of stuff. So, but a really beautiful movie. So I sat and watched that because I hadn't seen that before. And then of course I had to ride Living with the Land, because that's honestly, that ride is the closest thing to the opening day attraction from anything else in the
Did it
park.
still feel as fresh?
Yep.
As it
It's
always?
still
Yeah.
it not a whole lot of that has changed since the original opening day attraction. Some of it has, but it still feels like the original attraction. So I don't miss that ride when I'm down there. And then I just walked right on to that. I walked right onto Nemo when I walked on there. I walked right on to Journey into Imagination after that. So
Did they
the
fix the
studios,
jellyfish? Did they fix the jellyfish in Nemo yet?
I don't think they were moving. Oh, but the shark that pokes
shark.
his head, that's moving again. So I was pleasantly surprised, because the last time I was there and the last 5 times I was there, that shark didn't move, but it was moving this time. So Disney actually fixed something. I was surprised. So did the Land Pavilion, then I did Journey, and then I went and got on Spaceship Earth.
Nice. How was
And
that?
it's still not the Walter Cronkite version, so that's
Was it
too bad.
crowded? Was the park crowded this time?
Epcot was much less crowded than the studios were. So the longest I waited for about 15 or 20 minutes for, maybe not even that long, probably about 15 for Spaceship Earth. So that wasn't too bad. So I finished that, and then I decided it was time to walk around World Showcase and start getting some drinks from around the world. And I posted a couple of videos about I got a beer or an ale at the little kiosk in front of the Norway Pavilion, and it was a Scandinavian ale, and holy smokes, it was amazing. Like, if I could find it here in the States, I'd buy it by the case. It was that good. Really, really good. So
Did you go on Frozen Maelstrom?
No, I didn't. First of all, the line for that ride was over an hour, and I wasn't going to wait an hour for it. And I had drinks to drink. I couldn't stand in line for the ride that killed Maelstrom while I could have been drinking. So I went around World Showcase. I actually got something to eat at, because it's the Flower and Garden Festival, so they have all the booths up. So I got a neat little plate, like a taco plate at Mexico, and I also got a Mexican beer. And that was pretty good. So I guess I did that before I got to Norway. And I did go into the Odyssey. The Odyssey is, it's like the headquarters for the Food and Wine, or not Food and Wine, Flower and Garden. And it looks like the orange bird is everywhere.
Oh,
I
wow.
guess the orange bird is the character mascot for the Flower and Garden. So they had orange bird shirts and hats and cups and bags and those Loungefly backpacks that are really popular now. They had orange bird everything. So that was pretty cool, because I'm a fan of the orange bird. I like the orange bird. So that was cool. And then I walked around and I ate again at the Sam Eagle barbecue place in the American Pavilion.
Did you get to see the American show?
I didn't. When I got there, it had just ended or it just started 10 minutes. So it was going to be over an hour until the next one. So I was like, yeah, maybe I'll come back. We'll see where I'm at. And about the time I got to the American Pavilion, and I just got a snack. I got actually ended up getting a kid's meal, because I'd already eaten in Mexico. So I just got a kid's meal at the American Pavilion, and it was it was like 2 ribs and a side and a drink. And it, it was like $9 or something. It was pretty reasonable. And I got a message from a former student of mine who graduated last year and moved to Florida like about a week after graduation. His parents were waiting for him to graduate, and when he did, they all moved to Florida. So he messaged me and said, hey Sarge, I saw on your Facebook that you're at Epcot. I'm at Epcot.
Oh, wow.
So that was really cool. We met up, and really cool seeing, a former student. And so I ended up hanging out with him for probably about 2 hours. Just his mom, he was there with his mom and dad, and they had because it was the last showing of Harmonious, so they made reservations at Rose and Crown to watch Harmonious. And so he just hung out with me until it was time for their reservation. So we walked around the rest of World Showcase, and I got another beer in Canada, which was pretty good, and not as good as the Scandinavian one, but it was pretty good. And then I went, and it was, by this time it was about almost 8 o'clock, and I was like, all right, I've never seen Harmonious. This is the last time it's ever going to show. I'm going to get a good spot, and I'm going to watch it. So we walked around, and I got to the very center of the World Showcase lagoon, like right between the two, what do they call that? The entry port or whatever. Got a good spot there. And then my former student sat there and hung out with me until it was time for his reservations with his parents. So we sat there and chit-chatted and stuff for a while. And then when he left about 15 or 20 minutes before Harmonious started. And then I sat there and watched Harmonious. And have y'all seen Harmonious?
No.
Tony, you haven't. Ron, did you see it?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
I saw a little bit of the video.
You didn't miss anything.
Yeah.
You didn't miss anything at all. I'm not surprised that Disney pulled the plug on it after just basically doing it for the 50th. I don't believe for a second that was their intention, because I know that they spent millions on this thing, especially building those giant barges.
Yeah.
It just wasn't very good. It was, so visually, it's really cool. I don't know if it's worth having that giant Stargate thing sitting there all the time, but as far as for the show, it looks like the Stargate, right?
It does,
yeah.
It does.
Visually, it was really good. The water falling around that, and they project the show on the water and stuff, and then you got those 4 taco barges and everything. Visually, it was cool. I like what they did with that technology, but the show itself,
The content.
The content, yeah, good, thank you. It did not evoke any emotion from me whatsoever. Zero.
Wow, that's not like a Disney event,
Ron. It was like they were like, people love fireworks, let's do fireworks, and we got this cool thing in the middle, let's do some water, and then let's just put on a Disney
random
movie greatest
soundtracks
hits.
Yeah,
that's it. It was just a random collection of soundtrack
in different languages, right?
Yes, which is great if you happen to speak one of those languages, but I don't. So so you've got a little bit of Encanto music, and you got a little bit of Coco, and you got a little bit of
and lots of Moana.
There was a little bit of Moana, there was a little bit of Aladdin, there was a Jungle Book song, but none of those things tie together. You know what I mean? It was just like literally
no Mickey, no Epcot, no history of what Epcot was supposed to be. Yeah.
No. It was literally like somebody just took a Disney's movie music CD, put it in there, and put it on shuffle. And they're like,
for a couple
fireworks
seconds.
with the Moana soundtrack, and fireworks with the Aladdin soundtrack.
Did they also show? Is this the one that didn't they show little clips on the rocks as well, or whatever that is? Aren't there little clips playing?
No, the clips are just projected on the water that falls from the Stargate.
Yeah.
And then the taco barges are
Right.
actual video screens.
Right.
So that's where the screens were too. But look, back in the day, like Wishes, but dude, that show bring a tear to my eye every time, you know, especially when I'm there. And Wishes was, you know, when my kids were small. So, you know, I'm holding one of my kids, you know, and watching Wishes, and, you know, it's a little kid talking, and I'm like, oh, I've got a kid, you know, and it made you feel something. Reflections of Earth, dude, that thing was there for 20 years. And I bet you I've seen it at least 50 times. And every single time it brought tears to my eyes. The music made me feel something. Harmonious was just fireworks in a Disney CD. That's it. It had it. There was no
and not
emotion.
even the good stuff. Not even the good Disney
No,
stuff.
you know, I mean, so
For
I'll
us,
be honest.
for us.
You know, since my kids have grown up, I haven't watched as many
Yeah.
Disney animated movies. So I haven't seen Encanto. I haven't seen Coco. But I have seen Jungle Book and Aladdin, and Aladdin is my favorite Disney movie. And even that didn't inspire emotion. You know, it was just like, okay, great. It's, you know, I'm watching a clip of Aladdin and there was some fireworks. Great. You know, there was no story. There was no, like, Reflections of Earth. I mean, there's a reason why we named this show the WDW Reflections podcast, because you know, part of that, you know, we're reflecting on our memories on the show, but there was an element to remembering the Reflections of Earth when we named the show.
We've got a little bit of the music going on in the theme song
do
as well,
absolutely. So. It's because that entire show inspired emotion. Like you get choked up when you see the globe spinning and people from all over the world, and you know, all the countries coming together, like that peace and kumbaya and everything. It made you feel something. And it was a story, you know, the story of basically humanity. You know, the guy at the beginning says, you know, we're gathered around the fire like people have for 1,000 years, whatever. It made you feel something. Harmonious just felt like something you would watch in your hotel on the Disney preview show. You know, you turn on the hotel TV and it's, you know, you're watching that. That's what it felt like. It was a commercial. It did not feel like a story. It didn't feel like anything. It just felt like Disney movie greatest hits.
And it's obviously they realized that, and thankfully they did get rid of it.
And so I was there for the last showing, and I'm glad I saw it, because I hate missing stuff. I hate, you know, never experiencing something. So I'm glad I saw it. I was not impressed. And so I guess right now Epcot Forever is back. The show that they played between Reflections of Earth and the beginning of Harmonious. So that's going to play. I hear that the next fireworks show that's coming to Epcot is supposed to start this fall, sometime August, September, October, something like that. And it will be the new, whatever the new one is. Haven't been a lot of details out about that, but can't say that I'm going to miss Harmonious. It was, you know, it was okay. If this tells you anything, I didn't even finish it. I started walking away before it ended.
Wow.
to beat the crowds. And which is something I would not do for Reflections of Earth. Reflections of Earth was worth waiting for the end.
I was going to say, then you wait for the after music as well, because it's part of the exit of the park.
I didn't care.
Yeah,
I didn't care.
How about
didn't even care?
Speaking of Reflections, did you get to see the globe doing the sphere do any kind of?
I didn't see it. It was still daytime when I started my walk around the world showcase. But we went back on Tuesday. My wife wanted to see how she tolerated going into the park with her health and everything. So she can't walk around the park. So we actually got her a wheelchair, and I pushed her around, and she tolerated the heat and stuff. Okay. It was really nice being there with her again and everything. And so when we were leaving for the night, we dropped off the wheelchair, and the I guess that what was that, the Beacons of Light show,
Right, Beacons of Light, yeah.
started on Spaceship Earth, so I got to see it as we were walking out, and it's amazing.
Okay. It was nice.
Dude, just that Beacon of Light show is 1,000 times better than Harmonious, because guess what the Beacons of Light show has? It has music from Epcot's past.
Nice.
The original, Journey into Imagination music is there. There's some Horizons audio in it, and it evokes emotion. It brings back those memories and stuff. And so that Beacon of Light show was 50 times better than Harmonious. It wasn't, not even close. So I did get to see that as we were leaving. We just spent about 3 hours. I guess I could talk about that real quick. So we weren't going to go in for the full day, obviously, because my wife's health doesn't allow for that. But so we just went in. We got there at about 4:00 on that day. But my wife surprised me. She had, since we had park reservations for that day, she got up at 7 a.m. I wasn't there because we were still over at the hotel where we were staying for my daughter's chorus thing. So she got up the morning of it was the following Tuesday when we were going to Epcot. She got up, got on the app, and got us boarding passes for Guardians of the Galaxy, the Cosmic Rewind, which hadn't been on yet, obviously, because it just opened last year. And I will say that if that ride were in any other place besides Epcot, I would say it's one of probably top 5 best rides in
Wow, nice. So you had a good time on it.
Cosmic Rewind is phenomenal. It just doesn't belong in Epcot. It makes no sense there. Zero.
Didn't they even with the Epcot connections that they had inside where
they tried to,
Yeah.
I mean, at one point Star-Lord in the pre-show says, yes, I love Epcot. I can't wait to go on Horizons. They tried to tie it in, but come on. They're really reaching. Look, that ride would be amazing in Tomorrowland. That ride would be amazing over at the studios. It just doesn't make any sense at Epcot. But ignore that. I'm going to review the ride outside of the fact that it doesn't belong in the park, and it is fantastic. It is the technology, again, super cool. The way the ride vehicle spins and lets you see all the elements that are around you. It's, lots of projections and stuff, and the scale of the building, because the I guess the bad guy in the ride is I can't remember. I'm not a comic book guy, but it's like one of those giant guys, like the in the Marvel movies that can create and destroy planets. I can't remember what they're called, but he's like giant. He's like his head's the size of Earth or whatever. You know what I mean? The scale of the inside of that building is so big that the projection of that the bad guy is probably 4 stories tall. I mean, it's probably 40 or 50 feet tall, the projection. Wow. I mean, the scale of it is really good. And the ride vehicles are really cool, really fun. And it's nostalgic 80s music, just like Star-Lord listens to in the movies and stuff.
Does it move quickly?
No, no, it doesn't. So I even had a virtual queue, and we still waited over an hour for having a virtual queue. And so I have no idea how long the standby line was, but with my virtual queue, we were over an hour, probably about an hour and 15 minutes. So the standby line had to be longer than that. It was the line was pretty slow. But they got some stuff for you to watch and look at, and there's some models and stuff in the queue. So it wasn't terrible. It was longer than I expected, but the ride is amazing. Do I wish Ellen's Energy Adventure had been, updated and it was still there? Yes, I do. and I wish they would have done something with Universe of Energy and put Guardians of the Galaxy in the studios or something, because it, would the standby line had to be longer than that. It was the line was pretty slow. But they got some stuff for you to watch and look at, and there's some models and stuff in the queue. So it wasn't terrible. It was longer than I expected, but the ride is amazing. Do I wish Ellen's Energy Adventure had been, updated and it was still there? Yes, I do. And I wish they would have done something with Universe of Energy and put Guardians of the Galaxy in the studios or something, because it, would make sense there. But besides that, Guardians of the Galaxy is one of the best rides Disney's ever created. But besides that, Guardians of the Galaxy is one of the best rides Disney's ever created. Honestly, it's really, really good. The intensity of the ride is, if you can ride Everest, then you can ride Guardians of the Galaxy. It's no more intense than Everest or Slinky Dog. It's not really any more intense than that. So I know a lot of people don't like roller coasters and stuff. So if you're kind of worried about riding it, if you get you get motion sickness or stuff, I don't anticipate that you will be affected by that. If you can ride, like I said, if you can ride Everest or something, it's about that intensity. It's not like a Busch Gardens roller coaster where you're doing all kinds of crazy G's and stuff like that. It's relatively low intensity, but the technology and stuff really, really good. So that was my wife surprised me with getting us a virtual queue boarding pass for that. So that was a really good experience. So my goal for this trip, because I was only going to do 1 or 2 days in the Disney parks, and then we were doing a couple of days in Universal because of my daughter's chorus competition. And so my goal was to get on Rise of the Resistance, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Hagrid's the motorcycle ride over at Universal, and I did all three. I got on all three of them.
We have to. We don't really have time on here, but I have to ask you about what Universal is like someday.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. I'm a Disney fanatic, lifelong, but that doesn't stop me from enjoying Universal parks. The Universal parks are fantastic. We had a really good time. Always do. We go there. We don't go to Universal every year, so maybe every other year or so. Pre-COVID. So, but I'll tell you, it's hard to resist now because Disney, and I have a lot of benefits being a retired military member. So Disney you can buy tickets, discounted tickets as a military member. For Disney, it's a 5-day park hopper, and it's like $100 off or whatever, and thank you. I appreciate that. Universal's ticket for military is $199, and it's for the entire year. It is a season pass, but wow. It's by calendar year, so it's January to December, and there are some blackout dates and stuff, but like when we go back in June, I have a season pass. I can go to Universal in June if I want. So they really do something really, really nice for to honor the military. So I appreciate what Universal does with that. All right, guys. So thanks for listening to me ramble on about my quick trip down to Florida the last couple weeks ago. We're going to switch gears real quick, and so today is the 23rd of April when we're recording, which means yesterday was the 22nd. That was Earth Day, and that was Animal Kingdom's 25th anniversary. So yesterday was the 25th anniversary of Animal Kingdom. And some of you may have seen me post on our Instagram and Facebook page yesterday that my father-in-law was honored as being one of only 122 cast members left that worked at Animal Kingdom on opening day. and are still at the park. So they've been there for the 25 years. So I posted on there just congratulating my father-in-law. So I just wanted to mention that real quick and say happy anniversary, Animal Kingdom. But congratulations to my father-in-law for being at the park since the day it opened and still being there.
Yes,
So that's pretty cool.
congratulations.
Thanks.
Yeah, congratulations. That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. So in honor of the 25th anniversary of Animal Kingdom, we thought we would do a real quick what's your favorite and just make it very simple. We're just going to say, what's your favorite attraction at Animal Kingdom? So Ron, what do you got? What's your favorite Animal Kingdom attraction?
So it's not an original. It actually is a fairly newer ride, but it's definitely, I will not miss this ride probably anytime I go to Disney, but especially anytime I'm at Animal Kingdom. And that is Avatar's Flight of Passage. It's just well done. It's fun, and it's not a short ride. And it's just an enjoyable, and with Avatar's getting ready to, or did just release another, it's not going to lose its significance anytime soon.
It definitely a great ride. The technology is awesome. I wonder if they will do something sort of like they do on Star Tours, and when the new movie comes out, they add a scene or two.
Yeah,
how cool would that be if they did a little bit of, what is it? What is the new Way of Water or something is what the new movie's called? How cool would that be if they added, some elements from the new movie? I think that would be cool. I haven't heard if that's a thing. I don't know if they're going to do it, but hey, Disney, if you're listening, that's a great idea. Do that.
Yeah.
How about you, Tony? What's your favorite Animal Kingdom attraction? Could be extinct. Maybe it's gone. I don't know. But what is your all-time favorite Animal Kingdom attraction?
I don't think it's gone yet. My favorite thing that I didn't want to miss every time I went to Animal Kingdom was Dinosaur. I really loved that ride, only because it also harkened back to what the Indiana Jones ride was like in Disneyland. But also just it was exciting. There have been times where I used to go on it and then go right back on it again, especially in the morning if you got there for extra magic hours. It's just a fun, exciting ride. And second place for me would be the Kali River Rapids. I enjoyed that freshness also in the morning.
I love, I still call it Countdown to Extinction, and I probably always will. That just was a better name for that attraction. I still love that attraction. I don't know how it's going to fit into their Dino Land, and all that stuff is going away, and they're supposedly going to put in that Zootopia area and stuff over there by where Primeval Rural used to be. So I don't know. I don't know what the plans are for Dinosaur, if it's going to survive that or not, but great attraction. My favorite attraction over at Animal Kingdom is definitely Expedition Everest. Personal reasons, my father-in-law works on it, and I've got to go backstage and see like the control room and stuff. His boss, this was probably 15 years ago, let us go into the control room and see where all the cameras are and stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
So that was pretty cool. But it's also just a great ride, a great attraction. The storyline is awesome. I liked it better when the Yeti moved, but not much they can do about that. But that's my favorite over at Animal Kingdom. Definitely love Expedition Everest. It's I'm a thrill seeker, so I like those kinds of attractions. So, all right. So happy birthday, Animal Kingdom. Great.
We'll do a show. We'll do a longer show about that probably sometime this year.
Yeah. We probably should.
You know what's interesting? My daughter turned 25 yesterday.
Oh, happy birthday to her.
She was born the day Animal Kingdom opened.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. Did you guys realize that back then, or did you just really realize it right now as we're talking?
No, I knew that Animal Kingdom was opening on Earth Day. I don't know that I realized my daughter's birthday was on.
That's funny. What a coincidence. That's pretty cool. Well, happy birthday to it's Brooke, right? Your oldest daughter.
Yeah, my oldest daughter.
Oh, happy birthday, Brooke. And that just about does it for this episode of the WDW Reflections Podcast. Please find and follow us on all of our social media accounts. We can be found on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at WDW Reflections Podcast, and on Twitter at WDW Reflections. This podcast can currently be found and played on many podcast platforms, and we'd love it if you'd give the show a follow wherever you listen. And if you love the show, please leave us some feedback on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify. Those positive feedbacks help the show reach a larger audience and helps us grow. And make sure you check out our website at wdwreflectionspodcast.com. And don't forget, you can always message us from any of those social media accounts, or you can email us at wdwreflectionspodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. And please keep coming back because we truly appreciate you. Thanks for reflecting on Walt Disney World memories with us on the WDW Reflections Podcast.
See you real soon.